So I'm going to start out with a quick deck tech before getting into the event. Basically, we're trying out something a little bit different here. This is Historic on Arena. This deck is very close to what Modern Prowess is in terms of what it's doing. Obviously, some of the cards have been kind of moved around a little bit. Historic is probably the best equivalent for Historic is somewhere between... some of its power level is somewhere between like Modern 5 to 10 years ago and the very upper ends of Pioneer, like all the broken stuff of Pioneer if it was unbanned. So you have a format that you're capable of reanimating an Atraxa on turn 2. You have Faithless Looting into Life Death, and you have a format with a lot of powerful things. Yawgmoth's one of the top decks in the format. There are plenty of other modern adjacent decks. So in terms of power level, that's about where things are. The other thing you have to note is Historic is one of the formats where arena fixed cards are. So for instance, Corey Steelcutter, you see that A thing. Instead of giving +1/+1, trample, and haste, it simply gives haste and still has the flurry effect, which is obviously kind of relevant. The rest of the deck, I mean, if you play Standard, if you play Pioneer, if you play Modern, even if you play Legacy to a certain extent, you're going to see a lot of these cards. Storm Chaser's Talent and Boomerang Basics, this has been all around Standard. Basically, you get a 1/1, you can bounce your 1/1, or Storm Chaser's Talent, draw a card, because it can also just be an unsummon or bounce some type of problematic permanent. So you have 4 Storm Chaser's Talent, 4 DRC, which is another quasi-fixed card. It's a 3... It gets +2/+0 instead of +2/+2. Other than that, the Surveil is really important. You have Chain Lightning in this format instead of Lightning Bolt, because Lightning Bolt is banned for whatever reason. Like I said, you can freaking reanimate a Atraxa on turn 2, but you can't have Lightning Bolt. Sure. So instead we're playing Burst Lightning. The splits on these I know seem a little weird. My original build, which we'll take a look at in a second, the Soul Scar Mages weren't in it, and I had a couple Spell Snares. It just didn't felt kind of weird having a counter spell in the main deck of the Prowess deck, I'll put it that way. Beyond that, you have Swiss Spear, Soul Scar Mage, DRC, Storm Chaser's Talent. Pretty good chance you'll have a threat on turn 1. Your other threats, Slick Shot Show Off, this one can deal a ton of damage. Corey Steelcutter, obviously this is just insane in any format, it's legal. It is banned in Standard. It's among the top cards for banning in Pioneer, for anyone who cares about that format still. And sees play in Modern and Legacy. I mean, this card's just kind of nuts overall. Expressive Iteration, it's banned in Pioneer. I believe, I'm not sure if it was banned at its time in Standard. And it sees some fringe play in Modern. Used to see a lot more play when Is It Murktide was a thing still. Obviously sees play in the Modern version of Pioneer. And the land base, 4 Steam Vents, 4 Spire Bluff Canal, Fiery Islets, Mountains. There are real no legal fetch lands in this format. I think you have Prismatic Vista is legal, and Fabled Passage are your 2 fetch lanes that can get basics, just not really worth it. Instead we're playing Riververge Passage, which is a dual land that taps for red, and then taps for a blue if we happen to have a Steam Vents or a basic mountain. Running 19 lands, the original list I was running 20. I feel like 18 might even be correct, especially on the draw. Sideboard, Consign to Memory, stifling any type of triggers, any type of affinity lists. This can be relevant in some spots. Spell Pierces and Force of Negations when needing to be disrupting either your opponent's key non-creature spell, for instance the Reanimation spell, Escape Shift, any type of sweepers. Trying to keep them off balance long enough for your creatures to get across the finish line. Alpine Moon, this is kind of a speculative one, mainly there for Valakut combo of any type. Don't know how prevalent that is in the format, but still a card that can be relevant in that regards. Unholy Heat, another card that's powered down, only does 4 instead of 6, but still 4 damage to a creature when you have Delirium is pretty reasonable. Soul Guide Lantern, any type of graveyard nonsense. And Pyroclasm for any type of small creature decks, whether it be a go-wide version of Affinity, whether it be Elves, whether it be Goblins, whether it be Yawgmoth. This is quite nice overall. And then 1 copy of Meltdown for any type of random artifacts that might get through. Now, as far as the other version of the deck that I originally started working with, this is one I've queued up in. I think so far with this version I was 6-0 in queues. The Historic seems to be a lot of random just decks. Like, it doesn't seem to be as defined a meta as something like Modern or Pioneer or Standard. It feels like there's a little bit more brewing, or just people bringing what they have for this thing. So, I mean, the only difference is really, 20th land, 2 spell snares in the main, no copies of Soulscar Mage, which I think is the weakest threat. It's weaker behind DRC and Swift Spear. Storm Chaser's talent, technically probably a little bit worse of that individual threat, but has synergies with Boomerang Basics, the ability to rebuy instants and sorceries from your graveyard in the mid to late game. I felt that one was pretty reasonable. We had 2 Burst Lightnings, we went up to a 3rd, added 2 Soulscar Mages, cut a land, which I think was the 4th Islet, because sometimes if you get the multiple Islet draw, it is quite painful, especially if those are your only 2 lands to start the game. It can be relevant. As you see the sideboard, really, I don't think anything even changed in the sideboard from what I had. From version to version, I've been pretty happy with this kind of 2 of a lot of sideboards and the 1 on Meltdown so far. Cards that really haven't seen much play, the Meltdowns and the Consigned Memories, but I feel like they're enough of a catch-all against their random, and then the Alpine Runes are another card that potentially go out. Alright, so we're here. First match in the Historic Challenge. This hand's too risky, can't really keep the 1-lander. This hand's fun, we'll put back Fiery Islets. Question is, which one do we lead on? I think we lead on Dragon Range Channeler. This is very similar to good old-fashioned just don't think we'll keep it simply because DRC gives us a bunch of looks. Go ahead and bend the land. As much as I want to get my card types up, I really can't afford to. Unearth is playing mono black. Is this like Jetstorm or something? Unstoppable Slasher, sure. I don't think that one's quite good enough here. Yeah, we'll need. Is this lethal? So right now we're going to hit for this one in my hand, that one on the library, that one in exile, play this one, turn that, sure. I'm guessing you're going to play. Sure, trigger this. Fiery Islet to the bin. Turn that again. another 4. So it looks like we're up against some type of variant of mono black combo. So one thing I've noticed with Historic is I don't think there's as much of a defined metagame. Like, there are top decks if you go to Untap GG and whatnot, but it really feels like people are just trying to play whatever random deck they've enjoyed. There isn't even a particularly good guide to anything. Maybe we want Unholy Heats, Consign, Spell Pierce, Force of Negation, Moon. I don't think Burst Lightning is going to be particularly good. And then Breaking the Forces, although I'm not even convinced those are particularly good. And then on the draw, go down land. About to get visited by my lovely wife. Yes, dear?
So there's places that just have tornadoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or tornado warnings that are now under blizzards.
Yeah, that's certainly something. Alright, so they're just like massing as many combos .deck as they can. Don't think we want another EI. I guess I'll leave that on top. 1/1. Don't think there's anything here. Every game. Like, obviously, this is just like jam every life gain combo you can jam into a pile, or every 2-card mono black combo into a pile. So, like, you have Unstoppable Slasher, and the one, whenever you lose life, you lose double that life. And then there's probably some type of Sanguine Bond. Oh my. Yeah, they're literally playing whatever pile they have. Alright. Then we have that on top. I'm not particularly in love with that. But I mean, it's fine overall. We're just going to make a bunch more otters. Just play Reverge. Play that. Use Chain Lightning to kill that. That way we don't die to something random that I'm not thinking of. It's one of the things I like with this Prowess deck. And I mean, the funny part is now, like, if you're a Burn player or a Prowess player or anything like that. Oh, golly, this one's terrible. Slick Shot to hand. That one to exile. Cast Ponder. I'm interested in that. I'm less interested in this one, but decline. Shock it up, shock it in, let me begin. Hit our opponent for a ton. This is a Prowess version, variants of it is now legal in Standard, Pioneer, Modern. A version of it is playable in Legacy. It's not obviously the best, but it does what it needs to do. And then Chain Lightning. Like, obviously we could just burn Bloodletter, but we can just also freaking kill our opponent here, so. our opponent was playing a very underpowered historic deck. But that's one of the things with these like historic challenges and whatnot, is sometimes you just get decks that are not remotely powerful. Matchup number 2. We're on the draw, unfortunately. This hand's fine. The River Verge Pyre is basically just a mountain at the moment, but question is, what one do we lead off on? Okay, so our opponent leads on that. So we'll go ahead and lead on Soulscar Mage. I can only assume they have some type of Fatal Push, or what should I call it? This is probably Dimir midrange. Yep, requiring Hex and Fatal Push. Leave open mana. Like, Frog's obviously going to be a problem. Deceit's... Okay, so there might be some type of Reanimator or something. Dimir Midrange, could be Dimir Excruciator. I assume you gotta take Quarry Steel here. Maybe you take Slick Shot. Those two, I think, represent the most concern for any opponent. Ponders and Swiss Spear are kind of whatever. It's one of the things of... Oh. Okay. Sure. Actually, probably should have suspended Slick Shot there. But I wanted to get this down under a potential counterspell, though there is no guarantee that our opponent has. Yep. Presume to take the Slick Shot here. You're going to get hit with the Deceit for a 4th turn in a row. Opponent's determined to keep an open mana. Oblivious Bookworm. Okay, so they are some type of Reanimator strategy, very similar to a standard deck. Play that. Ponder. Cast another Ponder. Trigger. So, unless they have a removal spell, they're just dead. So our opponent is basically a variant of Reanimator from Standard. The problem with it specifically is they don't use, or typically they don't use reanimation spells. Like, this deck could certainly be slightly changed and have, Necromancy and Life Death, which is illegal. But their most likely reanimation spell is probably Superior Spider-Man / Kavara on the Mind Bitten. So we definitely want the Soul Guide Lanterns. Consign the Memories, probably. Spell Pierce, kind of mid. Force of Negation, if they show us maybe Unholy Heat over some of the copies of Bolt Burst Lightning. And then got 2 Chain Lightnings and a land on the draw. That's what I've been mainly doing. So they're... I mean, like I said, can't guarantee that they are the standard version, but the fact that they're Sultai Reanimator specifically, they're built very similar to the whatchamacallit decks. So, all right. Adon Soulscar. Pizza slice, nice. Pizza versus cabbage. Oblivious Bookworm. So we are going to have to probably bounce that. Maybe Ponder. So, Town Greeter, I couldn't care less about that one. So play Quarry Steel here. Quarry Steel is a lot worse in Historic because it's been arena fixed. It doesn't give the creature +1/+1 or trample. It's one card I would love to find. Okay, Wistfulness. Yeah, that's going to blow up that. Which is fine. But yeah, they look like they're very much the standard deck. So, Storm Chaser's Talent. Reason I'm not trying to set up with Quarry Steel this turn is simply the fact of I didn't have enough mana to really utilize it. And that's one of the things I've learned with Quarry Steel and all these cantrips is you don't want too many lands in your deck because you don't want too much air. But at the same time, it's like the sweeper of some kind. Deceit. Okay, so Deceit, Thoughtseize. I assume you take Quarry Steel here. Yep. Yeah, their hand's been very... Question is, what did they play as a fault? Maybe they have the... Oh, Quieting Hex? Sure. Problem is with this Bookworm is they have been kind of looting through their deck. That is the one that has to die. Looking for a copy of Soul God Lantern. Klein. Expressive Iteration. That to my hand. So if they have Kavaro, we're just basically dead here because they get all this crap back. They don't. Okay, so we'll take a Formidable Speaker to get a Kavaro. Man, their hand was very non-functional. Problem we have is we don't really... Okay, we'll play Corey Steele, trigger me this, that to the graveyard. Trigger me this. Trigger me this. Chain Lightning good enough here? Swing for 4, 6 this turn. Obviously, if they draw a Cavaro, then we're just basically smoked. Or if they mill a... Somehow they don't hit another Cavaro. Meringue is interesting if they have a 6 land, which it looks like they might. No blocks. Tap land. Huh. Their sequencing is pretty terrible here if they're planning on Formidable Speakering for making the Honored Dead. Sure. So, very expensive Snapcaster Manager. Grab Chain Lightning. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, go. And we got there. Alright, we're up against the Queen Bee. Can't keep the 5-lander. Hand is immediately kind of clanky. Actually, just pitch the River of Urge-Fire. This admittedly is a pretty bad hand overall, except for the 2 EIs, basically. Basically, any hand with prowess, you really want to be keeping a threat, and our deck is quite threat dense. So we'll go ahead and kill this. We're likely up against Yawgmoth, but given the assorted nonsense we've seen, anything is possible. And Yawgmoth is, I believe, according to MTG Joe, was the #1. Yep, looks like we are up against Yawg. We'll have 1 Rumble, 3 Soul Cauldrons, and a Badger. They're likely going to have to take one of the Soul Cauldrons, because that's probably all they're going to take. Whatchamacallit. Okay. So, Swizzle Spear. Boomerang Basics. Draw land, we do. Trigger. Opponent, are you feeling triggered? The one problem, specifically game 1 that we have, is we don't have any outs to Yawgmoth. But one thing our opponent is notably lacking is a double black mana. They do have access to 3 mana here. So as much as I want to play Swizzy, I think we need to look for a removal spell on this Badger Mole Cub. That is none of those things. Which one do we take here? So we already have a Storm Chaser's Talent, so I think we take the card that we don't have. Put that on bottom, put that in play. Obviously this isn't as good as if it were the first spell we were playing this turn. But the other thing is we also have to put our opponent's life total under as much duress as possible to make gotta have something here. Question is what? Cannot be Collected Company. Cannot be Court of Calling. Can it be Court of Calling? Yeah, I guess they can cord for 1 here. Because 1, 2, 3... Cord for 1. Yeah, it must be a cord. And apologies, I was not chewing candy. It was actually a cough drop because I've been trying to. I don't really have a ton for Yawgmoth. I think the Pyros and the Unholy Heats are the main thing. I mean, yeah, you have to cord for 1 here. Because Nurturing Peatland can tap for 2 green mana. Badger Mole's the 3rd. I'm guessing they're going to get Young Wolf? Nope, another Delayed Halfling. So that means they have Yawg in hand. Go to 5. Dies and come back. Young Wolf. So we have a Chain Lightning down there, so a land is lethal. Nice. So I don't think they can play a... You can cord for 1, but I don't think that does much. So now we have... They can't go infinite here, notably, because... they are now out of life. Okay. So land here is lethal, Burst Lightning is lethal, and the other Chain Lightnings are lethal. Expressive Iteration could increase those outs. We start with Expressive Iteration. Okay, well, I mean, that one in my hand. That one. Show them that one. That's one of the few ways that burn and prowess decks can kind of sidestep the nonsense. So you could try to fight the graveyard access, like the Young Wolf loops and whatnot. It's more about, I think, trying to control the board. So you want the Unholy Heats, you want the Pyroclasms. What cards are worse in this situation? Because really, almost universally, you almost want all of your removal spells in this matchup. I honestly wonder if it isn't just shaving some of the Storm Chaser's talent Boomerang basic stuff. Like, obviously, Boomerang basics can set them back. Probably should have shaved a land there, too. But now I have so much removal in my deck. Well, that's certainly a hand of magical cards. Okay. Birds, sure. Have you heard about the bird? How deep do you go before you get blown out? Okay, dude, please don't have a Thoughtseize. Young Wolf. Birthing Ritual. Well, that makes things a little awkward. Maybe we'll hit a, whatchamacallit, come off of this. Yep. Sweet. Shock it up, shock it in, let me begin with the Soul Cauldron. That is objectively terrifying. Another Badger Mole, sure. So Badger Mole will get to stay alive, unfortunately. I am going to cash in one of my Ponders here. Decline. So as long as they don't have a Yawgmoth, I think we're okay. Which doesn't look like they do. Alright, so we're just going to suspend, well, not suspend, plot both show-offs. And just intend on going nuts next turn. Okay, notably can have Yoggers here, which kind of sucks. So one card they could potentially have here, which would make things kind of awkward, would be Endurance. Okay. Grist is basically pointless here. Okay. So you clearly, well, I don't know that they clearly have something they can play. Start by casting a Ponder. See what, whoa. Decline. Ponder. So that is currently 13 damage. That will be lethal if you don't have something. Like double fatal push or something dumb. Wow, you've been sitting on double fatal push. That's rough. And yeah, they can eat with Soul Cauldron, which is... I can get a 1/1 here. What did you draw? Please don't be a Jawmoth. Okay. Get a 1-drop, which I'm guessing will be Young Wolf. Of course. Just going to ignore, yield. Yep. Comes back. Guess who's back? Back again. Goodbye, Young Wolf. You're a star in the show. I said Young Wolf. Problem is now we're not presenting lethal no matter what we do. So, create a 1/1, sure. Birthing Ritual. Into a land. That is very questionable. Like, I mean, I get it. You want to maximize whatever was put at the bottom of your library. Okay, sure. Just go ahead and do the thing. Yeah, you can whatever onto that, but you're still having to trade away your creature to avoid dying. This is so close. Okay, I got a 1/1. So what do you got? Alright, EI, let's go. Fatal Push, sure. Yikes. Alright, so we'll put Swift Spear to hand. Silscar, Mountain. Play Mountain. Play Spizzle Spear. We unfortunately have no good attacks because they've already kind of hovered over that, so. Yep, sure. One, two, three, four, five, six at the moment. Oh, I'm fine with that outcome. Last card is a Hapatra. Okay. Let's go anything 3 or less. Do I have a... So we go ahead and grab a Ponder here. That's kind of annoying. Soul Culture is going to cut that off. Yep, not used to playing that run, so we might be flooding out at the wrong time. Make a 1/1. They put Sephiroth in the graveyard. Birds, sure. Okay, make a 1/1. Cards do we even have? Played 2. Yeah. I mean, we're just getting to the point where beatdown is going to be a problem. One, two, three, four, 5. Yeah, we're just dead here. It's basically our opponent just attacks in and then ultimates their wrist. We just took too long to finish off the game. So Storm Taster's Challenge is kind of mid in this matchup. Might be even a little bit worse now that they've that. So I think we just continue to increase our tempo in trying to remove their creatures. Especially on the play. Can't keep this hand. It's too mana intensive. This one's a little bit better. Keep putting back Soul Skirmish. DRC. 1 land, Ponder hands. Hopefully they don't have like a turn 1. Hopefully it's turn 1 Mana Dork. Nope, it's going to be turn 1 Kill Spell. No, turn 1 Birds of Paradise. Okay. Great card, but we have to bitch it. That is sorcery and Badger Mole Cub. On deck, give us a blue land. Sweet. Okay, we'll play Swizzle Spear. Cast Boomerang Basics on your stupid Badger Mole Cub. I guess I'm fine leaving a mountain in the party. Okay, so that'll give them access to a whole lot of mana, unfortunately. It's 2 mana this turn. Patra, sure. Mountain, Ponder. Surveil that away. Climb. Those come back, unfortunately, but I got the Soul Cauldron, yeah. Relevant, but also not relevant, if that makes sense. Ponder, let's see what's up. I'm looking for more cantrips than anything, honestly. Just want to add pressure to our opponent. See, these cards are good. I just don't think they're good enough here. Oh, and I declined. Sweet. Yeah. I'm a dodo bird, short and stout. There is the rumble. There is the Yawgmoth. I don't take Yawgmoths. Yaggers will be in the yard, so that's kind of annoying. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep, so they're both gonna technically be Yawgmoths. I think we're in a lot of trouble. Brr, 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 brr. Yeah, I really wanted to decline that stupid thing. Sure, Birds of Paradise on to what? Mm-hmm. I had to reset the thing. At least their Blood Artist is dead. But we do know they have a Sephiroth in the deck. So, Birds of Paradise. Land. Birth and Ritual. Yeah, it feels like they're going to have enough gas to... I feel like we misplayed that game too. I think we really had a chance to kind of win that game too, and I think I misplaced our best attempt to deal them a near killer blow. I mean, they have 6 mana. That's kind of... They find another Young Wolf. They are in very good shape, because basically our creatures are useless at that point. Okay, another Yawgmoth isn't as relevant here. Because they basically already have 3 Yawgmoths in play right now. So they're going to reset the Young Wolf, it looks like. That's one counter on that. They have access to 2 mana here. Badger Mole Cub would be pretty bad for us because that'd be 2 creatures. Just draw a mountain anyway, so we'll play it out. Yep. It has basically all the mana they could want. That's a Sephiroth. That is the game, basically. So, it's an okay run. 2-1. So 2-1 run. We claim, basically, I think, not quite our entry fee back, but a pack. Require 3 entries. So, alright, so quick wrap. I know this wasn't Modern Burn, but we are going to try to be branching out into other formats. Mostly because Modern Burn's actively pretty terrible, and because we're still getting the cards for Pioneer Prowess, or not Pioneer, for Modern Prowess. I'm slowly putting the cards together as the budget allows. I mean, we played against 2 basically standard decks and completely whooped them, and then we played against arguably the best deck in the format, or at least the most played according to Untapped GG. There really isn't a good information tap for Arena and the Arena-only formats, so it's a little bit harder to, get a gauge there. But I feel like that second game I misplayed somewhere, and then that third game, clicking yes on the Ponder, I knew was not the thing to do. I knew we needed more momentum, whether it was more ponders, more expressive iterations, etc. So I meant to click shuffle. I declined. Mistake there. Probably a mistake somewhere in the sequencing of game 2. I really think we probably could have gotten that Yawgmoth game. But pretty sweet overall. I honestly like any format where Prowess is legal and powered down version of Prowess is available in Standard. Obviously in Pioneer, for those who care about the format. Once again, it's one of the top dogs in the format. And then Modern, obviously it is a fringe player. Legacy, a version of this I saw. I think it was Thraben you played a variant of this deck that had like DRC, Boomerang Basic, Storm Chaser's Talent, maybe Swiss Spear, and I think Murktide Regent, along with Force of Wills, Dazes, Wastelands. So, I mean, this shell is basically playable from Standard all the way through Legacy. Likely playable in Historic from the little bit of testing I've done. Went 6-0, I think, on the ladder, which is basically the main way you play things, and then we had a 2-1 run here in a challenge, or not a challenge, but historic metagame challenge, which I would certainly do more of, but unfortunately it's late on a Sunday evening. I've got work in the morning, so hope you all have a great day, and come back for some more mono or red based content, including Prowess, Burn, etc.